Yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports' Order. And not only do we got picks tonight, we're going to talk about the Heisman. That's going to be coming up soon. Myself, your unorthodox statistician, 2-5. Going left so much you thought I was southpaw. I see the things that Deontay Wilder can't see. And then, of course, we got the one and only. Born in Texas, raised in VA, representing everything New Jerusalem. He said that you have not been to Caesar's Palace unless you've been to Atlantic City. He is Mr. Logical. Do not bring feelings to a fact fight.
Don't do it.
Let's get this thing started. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the good things, do all the free things. So we wanted to switch it up a little bit tonight. Get it off my chest right now, even though I was going to go in on the Denver Nuggets. But, we decided to have a conversation about one of the most prestigious awards in sports. Hello, Alohi. And let's get right to it then. I guess, so who you got,
Hello.
Mr. Logical? Who you got? Who's your Heisman favorite right now?
Well, I took a page out of your book. I got a little unorthodox kind of list. I'm keeping it at 5. But I got Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback, playmaker. The whole game changes when he's not on the field. It's evident. I know you have Shador throwing in the ball, and I know they have really quality wide receivers, but his ability to play both sides of the ball, and in my opinion, like I said, I'm probably gonna hit this one a couple more times. It's not Cap.
Cap! Big Tom Cap!
Listen, the Heisman isn't just your default quarterback award.
No.
The Heisman is a special award. You got to do something special. Bryce Young throwing 40-plus touchdowns behind Alabama's line was not special. It just wasn't.
Tell that to his mama.
Cam Newton carrying Auburn when they had like 3 guys take snaps in NFL, that's special. When you go through the gauntlet that is SEC, that's special. But it's like sometimes I think the award is by default. Like I think A.J. McCarron was like either he was close or he was like really close to winning the Heisman. Like A.J. McCarron did nothing. Next, obviously, Ashton Gentry. He's second in the nation in touchdowns, like rushing touchdowns with 18. I'm going to get to the guy that's first here shortly. My default quarterback in it, but I like what he's doing. I like what he's doing in Miami, Cam Ward, because Miami's had, like we talked about the talent pool that they have. They should have better teams. He transfers in, and it's like he plays the game at his speed. Like I talked about him being able to roll left and throw that back corner end zone pass is just special. Like you're doing something special for Miami. And then I got the Service Academy quarterbacks. I got Bryson Daly and I got Blake Horvath. And the reason Gentry is second in rush touchdowns is because Bryson Daly is number 1, 19 rushing touchdowns this season, 7 passing touchdowns. Blake Horvath has Navy unstoppable in the red zone. I think they're still at 100% touchdowns conversion, not scoring, touchdowns once they get to the red zone. Both Service Academies undefeated this late in the season. And I'm pretty sure historically it's probably happened before because they've had such a long history of college football.
Back in the 40s, the last time they both were ranked this late in the season, Dwight Eisenhower was the president.
Yeah, so it's like this current run, they won't have the gaudy numbers of Cam Ward as far as passing the ball, but their ability to lead that team that's generally undersized, not overly flooded with 4 or 5-star talent, and for them to be undefeated, both of them this late in the year. And Horvath is the only guy with 10 rushing touchdowns and over 10 passing touchdowns in the country right now. So it's like that's what to me, that's what the Heisman is. It's not just the default you stood behind Alabama's offensive line, or you ran deep routes next to three other 5-star wide receivers, and you just happen to catch 20 touchdowns. I think you got to do something special because this every other award is available for just your position doing something special. I think the Heisman should encapsulate the totality of what college football is, and nothing's more college football than underdogs, than guys giving it their all, i.e., going both ways on the field. Then you have the service academies. Yeah, I was thinking that, but I was like, I'm
well,
staying on.
you know what? I'm glad you said
theme.
that. I'm glad you said that. Going, like, so look, you know me. We've had these arguments over the years, like if it were up to me, Chris Paul would have a few MVPs, but the problem with these awards in the first place is that, and I know this is going to be ironic coming from me, they're too stat centric, so like in my eyes, a Heisman is somebody like Diego Pavia, down at Vanderbilt, put the beat down on Alabama a couple of weeks ago, beat Virginia Tech to start the season, had an interview lined up with the Unnecessary Roughness podcast and crew and said, I can't do it because we focusing on Texas this week. That is a Heisman. But I fear it's going to go to Cam Ward. So throughout the history of the Heisman Trophy, we've had 40 running backs win it, 38 quarterbacks, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 1 corner. We'll get to that in a second. So, Mr. Logical, real quick, who was the last running back to win the Heisman Trophy?
I saw this today, and it shocked the hell out of me, too. I believe it was Derrick Henry.
It is Derrick Henry back in 2015. Yep. So, it's going to be hard, right? So, this is my problem with Ashton Jeanty. He's doing great things. And to steal Mr. Logical's argument, because a few years ago, I'm like, yo, Todd Gurley's the MVP. This person's the MVP. And he's like, nah, if you're a running back and you win the MVP, you got to hit 2,000. You got to break the record.
Let's alter the tone.
That's what you said.
I didn't say it like that. I said they weren't going to vote you MVP unless you broke a record. And that's why I was so adamant that Derrick Henry should have been the MVP, because you can factor in Ryan Tannehill's numbers in that 2,000 yards.
Right. So
I just feel like they give it to quarterbacks because they just get 40 touchdowns.
So Ashton Jeanty, he has a chance to break the record, 26-28, held by Barry Sanders. He's already over 1,200 yards, averaging 9.9 yards per carry this season. Problem for me is that schedule. Like, I just can't buy it. So like I'm looking at this. And he had a great game against Oregon, so I don't want to take that away from him. 192 yards, 3 touchdowns against what's now the number 1 team in the nation.
And I think if someone's going to push back on the schedule and be like, "Oh, the schedule is soft," they're gonna be like, "Well, you got."
That's why I had to bring it up, because I knew you were going to say that. But look at that.
I just think it's a valid argument point.
Like, I don't think it is. Like, because when you look at the rest of the schedule, you got Utah State. Like you got these teams, Portland State. I'm not impressed with that. He should run for 200 yards against those teams.
Every other running back in the conference run for 200 yards against those teams.
Well, Portland State's a FCS team, so not everybody plays them. But Utah State, I don't know. They should, because Utah State sucks this year. But anyway, the point being is that, like, when you look at Barry Sanders, when you look at Barry Sanders breaking the record, when he broke the record, he was doing it against Nebraska. He was doing it against Oklahoma. He was doing it against Colorado. He had 3 300-yard games that year. So like when I look at that, that's impressive. Ashton Jeanty is doing impressive things right now, but it's the same reason that I have to knock Bryson Daly and Blake Horvath, Army and Navy, respectively. It's the same reason. I got to look at the schedule. You're playing Bucknells and Lehighs, Charlottes and Rices. I have to take that into account. So now Blake Horvath gets his chance tomorrow, because he's going to play against the Fighting Irish. Bryson Daly gets them later. So you have your opportunity on that stage. But at the end of the season, that's going to be the only game of consequence you play, besides when you play each other. Whereas with Boise State, on the other hand, like, they played Washington State as well, if we want to consider them. They play Oregon State later. They play UNLV tonight. But he should run for 200 yards on UNLV. So that's why.
Yeah, but you can't compare him to Barry Sanders' season. Like, Barry Sanders,
because you're only comparing them because of the numbers.
I'm talking about what are you, because everyone isn't running for 9 yards a touch. Everyone's not doing that all over the country. You have some of the best schools in America because Ohio State plays some chumps, Alabama plays some chumps, Georgia plays some chumps. All these schools are going to play at least 4 games against subpar, damn near subdivision teams, and their star player won't. The star
Their
quarterbacks
subpar
for
is
these
still
other
better than
teams.
what Boise's playing.
No, I'm talking about the Mercers. I'm talking about the teams
That's
that
one
they pay
game.
for. Yeah, but everyone, Alabama and all these other schools play 2 or 3 games like that every single year. And in those 2 or 3 games, by your leverage, those guys who are Heisman candidates who will go to Alabama, who go to Ohio State, they should throw for 500 yards as the quarterback against these teams that they invite in. When they play Akron or when they play, give me what is it, like Mercer? For some reason I don't even know where hell Mercer is. I always use
It's
it
in
like
Alabama.
Yeah. So when they play some of
Actually,
these
I think it's in
schools
Macon, Georgia. It's one of
that
the
they
two.
give $2, $3, $4 million to, then I want
Yeah, it's in
400
Macon.
yards, 6 touchdowns from these quarterbacks. So Ashton Genty, yes, he is not playing Alabama every week, but he put up 192 yards against Oregon.
He did.
They almost won. You know how the end of the games have been going recently this year. It seems like it's been a lot more.
Well, they would have won the
towards
game
end
if
of the
they didn't give up a punt return and a kick return.
Yeah. He got nothing to do with that. He don't
just give up one of them. Just give up one of them.
He doesn't make tackles. All he does is run through tackles. He's leading the nation in yards at the contact, yards you tackle, first contact. So it's like at some point, though, like I said, the Heisman can't just be like, for instance, when Caleb Williams, who won it? Max Duggar won like a court, like the Maxwell Award or something. The court, Davey O'Brien,
yeah,
as the best quarterback, but yet another quarterback won the Heisman, and it's like so.
But it's two different. It's two different voting people, though. It's not the same voting people that vote on these awards.
That's why I think the Heisman, it should be special, because if you think the guy is a Heisman, he should also win.
We have a dick rider amongst us.
So all I'm saying is this: I think your Heisman season should be remembered after you win it. If this award goes to insert Ohio State quarterback, no one's going to remember. It's like your season has to have. I remember Charles Woodson with the rose in his mouth because he won the Heisman a year.
Do you remember Michael Irvin doggy style?
Stop trying to get me sidetracked.
No. The point being, Cam Ward. That's why I was trying to get back on track there. He leads the league in passing. I mean, the nation in passing yards. He's only 17th in attempts. He has a 69% completion percentage, but it's all about Heisman moments, right? So I brought up Michael Irvin because they were down 4 scores at Cal, and he brought them back. They were down to Virginia Tech. We all know that game, how that ended. He brought them back, put them on his shoulder, like the backpack guys, as you like to talk about.
Yeah, he's on the list. I got him.
No, I know.
He's one of my 5.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm saying that I think he's the front runner. Like, not to me per se, but I'm saying that. Like, I think
this is for us.
Right.
I'm talking about with the punish thing. I'm talking about you and I.
So from there, as well, they're going to add Dylan Gabriel to this conversation.
Once again, that's BS. He's the exact same season. Like your season has to stand out. I'm sick of it just being a default. You go to big school, you get Heisman. It's BS.
So when I look at Charles Woodson,
like nobody wants to go outside the box. It's like, you mean to tell me what these guys are doing in Army and Navy is less? Dylan Gabriel, he was on his 4th school. I mean, Jesus, the man's 23 years old. He's 2 years removed from graduating.
They got a ringer.
It's not fucking special. It's like, yo, what's going on here?
They got a ringer.
Like Army and Navy is special. Miami has had terrible years back to back to back. Cam Ward coming in, doing it. That's special. Travis Hunter,
my World Series ain't
going from Jackson State to Colorado and having an injury last year and then having a target on their back this year. And having all the rumors and the hoopla and the celebrity and everything.
And that's why, for me,
he goes out there and balls. And it's humility.
And that's why for me, Shador is my Heisman winner right now. Because mine, not the media, not all that, because you said ours. Shador is my Heisman leader right now, from the standpoint of when you look at Colorado, I truly believe, and this is just my opinion, I truly believe they're nothing without him. Like you brought up Travis Hunter. That's why I had the reaction when you brought up Travis Hunter. Because if they had Travis Hunter, not Shador, I think they would probably be close to being a bad team. But Travis Hunter does have a Heisman moment. The fumble against Baylor at the end of the game in overtime to win that game. That's the stuff that Heisman seasons are built upon. But when Charles Woodson won the Heisman, the rose in his mouth, he had that 78-yard punt return against Ohio State. He had interceptions. He had deflections. Travis Hunter right now only has 2 or 3 interceptions right now. And then as a receiver, impressively, he's averaging 86 yards per game. But at the same time, that's good enough for 17th in the nation. So considering the fact,
both ways.
No, I know. Hold on.
Right.
Hold on.
Watered down is
no, I'm not. That's what I'm about to say. I'm about to clean it up. I'm about to clean it up, but you keep interrupting me. I'm about to clean it up. You know what I'm saying? But the point being is that it's impressive because he's a corner that's playing wide receiver. So you have to factor that in, and that's why he's getting the love that he's getting. But for me, he's been injured. You know what I'm saying? So I have to count that. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep you in a conversation with people that are here all the time. Like if you're out, and that's not your fault by any means. But
they took him out the last game because they were up. They took him out.
He's not on the field. Yeah, exactly. He's not on the field. Like he
played the first half. They had the game in control, so they took him out for the second.
Welcome back, Dave.
He played the first half, got injured. He wanted to go back in. They just wouldn't give him his helmet. He couldn't go back in. They won. And he was hurt. And they had the lead. So when they had the lead, it was like, cool, we're up 27-3. We don't need you back out there to re-aggravate your injury.
He missed the whole second half of the Kansas State game.
Because he got injured.
Yes, and I have to factor that in.
He came back the next week. It wasn't like he's in B.
It doesn't matter. If we're at the end of the year, and people have 12 whole games of greatness, and you have 10 games, one that you missed the whole half of, and all, like, I gotta factor that in. I can't, because availability is the best ability, right? So I have to factor that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to knock him. I'm not saying that as a diss. I'm just saying that when other people are out here playing full games and being great for full games, Bryson Daly, Blake Horvath, whoever you want to bring up, you know what I'm saying? I have to factor that in, especially when if he was out here, let's say right now, he had 6 interceptions and, or at the end of the season, he finishes with 6 or 7 interceptions. He has 8 receiving touchdowns and all this kind of stuff. He's definitely in the conversation. But I can't put you in the conversation just because you play both positions.
But it's not
Hunter.
Because he plays. It's not just because he plays both positions. He plays both of them to the point where he's so dynamic that the entire game changes when he's not there. It's not like he's out there for gadget plays offensively where he's just running jet sweeps and they throw him a bomb and then he goes back to the sideline. He's out there for 85, 90% of snaps. So even when you say he's not available for a couple of halves, well, hell, he plays 2 games in 1.
But that's what I'm saying. I can't include him in the conversation just because of that.
Playing 2 full games essentially. So if you think about the quarterback, college quarterback, they play about 90 snaps a game. He gets about 45 passes. Doesn't play any defense. Travis Hunter will go out there and play all the offensive snaps. Mm-hmm. They go back and play all the defensive snaps. So in a regular game, he is playing 2 roles to the levels where the numbers match up to where he is essentially playing 2 games at once every week.
No, I agree with that. And I'm with all that. I'm with all that.
The math still maths.
I'm with all that. Just like if Cam Ward misses, this ain't a Travis Hunter thing. If Cam Ward misses a game, I'm gonna say the same thing. If Dylan Gabriel misses a game, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm just saying that when we're talking about the best of the best and you're handing out some kind of MVP type award, all of that counts because you're all great. And we have to find those ways to nitpick somebody to get to the winner. That's all it is.
Yeah, I just personally like to highlight why they are on the list versus things that take them off the list.
No,
I
I
don't
didn't
want
take him off
other
the
people
list.
on.
I just said he wasn't my front runner.
Okay,
I'm just saying he's not my front runner. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like he deserves like if the season ended today, he absolutely deserves to be in New York. I just don't think he should win. He could be there. I just don't think he should win.
Like I said, I just feel that the Cam Ward season, I think it's special to with the stats based on his stats.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get him in the Heisman conversation because he's a quarterback. These are his stats.
Right.
Lead nation in these X categories.
Right.
I think the Heisman is like I said, it's a.
I mean, realistically, Genty's probably going to win it as long as he doesn't get injured.
So. I don't think so.
If he breaks that record was broken when I was 7 years old.
Yo, didn't the old boy throw like 60 touchdowns in Hawaii back in the day? The guy who passed away a few years ago.
Really, Timmy Chang, or not Timmy Chang, Colt Brennan.
Yeah, and I get that that's not the same thing. I just figured like your argument.
And their schedule was even worse than this Boise schedule.
The point you made about the Boise State schedule, it always goes against the that school that only plays like they play in their conference. Like everybody can't play in the SEC. Everybody can't play these vaunted programs. They're not everywhere. They're not 15 different versions of Ohio State from Florida to Washington and from Maine to Southern California. Like it's not they're not littered with all of these high power programs. You play who you play who's available. Because we're not going to give the Heisman to somebody who had 1,200 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns just because they're playing at Auburn. No, like you still got to do something special. I think Cam Ward's doing something special because Miami has been such a hit or miss school over the last few years, and almost like you say, I don't think they played the ACC championship game. I think they're on the way. They've played
in the ACC championship game. They just haven't won it since they joined the conference in 2004.
So that's 20 years. So you got 20 years of. We have memories of the Catholic versus convicts. I think the way he's playing this year is reminding people that bringing the old guys back to the game, and i.e. Michael Irvin on the ground doggy style, like a thought. I think Ashton Genty is the fact that he is bringing up, Barry Sanders. Like that's a 40-year-old, 30-some-year-old award.
Right.
I mean, record, he might break that. I'm not comparing Travis Hunter to Charles Woodson. Like every time we have this conversation, that's not what the conversation goes. It's not about how good is his season compared to Charles Woodson. It's about his season this year.
No, I brought up the comparison
because Mike just said, "Oh, he's
okay."
Not
well, yeah, I was saying the reason that I brought up the reason that I brought it up was just for the reason I brought it up was just for context to say that the last time
saying like, "Hey, I remember that it's a memorable award." Think about Marcus Mariota won it. Was this season that dynamic, that memorable? You're like, oh, like every quarterback of like 10 years ago, they were all having the same season.
And Louisville came back.
45 touchdowns, 4,800 yards. They were beating up on scrubs. They had a watered down.
He wasn't playing receiver as much as Travis either. You know what I mean? Like it was a change of pace, or
this isn't a Woodson comparison. I'm not comparing him to Woodson. I'm talking about the memory of the award. Bryce Young has a Heisman and couldn't make it through 3 games in his second year in pro football because he got the award standing behind a big offensive line, throwing the ball to 4 or 5 guys on the outside. That's not a Heisman. That's not a special year. They didn't even play in the college football playoff that year. He just threw a lot of pretty passes. He did nothing else. No Heisman moment. Okay, you want to give me the Texas game with a young Quinn Ewers with the mullet? I give you that. But he needed so much help to get that win. So it's like, yo, I'm not talking about Woodson. I'm not trying to make a Woodson comparison. Y'all bringing up shit I'm not talking about. What are y'all doing?
And ladies and gentlemen, my partner, the uneven kill.
Focus. I'm a logical person. I'm not talking about Travis versus Charles. Every single sports conversation isn't a guy from today versus a guy from 20 years ago. We can have current day dynamic conversations. Stop trying to derail my conversation. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about today. This guy's playing 2 games at once. He deserves, like, people acting like everyone's doing that. I know high school kids who can't do that. They get tired. He's out there chasing people all over the place.
Yeah. And you know, and that's why I said, but I think that, you know, and this is a long if, you know, if Alabama somehow wins out, then Jalen Milroe has to be a part of that conversation because, you know, his the shot that clears.
No, he doesn't.
Shout out to the shots.
No, he does not have to be a part of the
Yes, he just going off of no, because you're talking no. Back up. The very start of this conversation. Back up. The very start of this conversation. We talked about, you know, fuck the stats, all that kind of stuff. I brought up Diego Pavia, you know, all that kind of stuff. You brought up Army and Navy and what their quarterbacks are doing for them. That's what Jalen Milroe is doing too. He is the offense, regardless if it's.
That's because they don't run the ball. It's not because they can't.
They do run the ball. They just can't.
They can run the ball better than that. They just like throwing it because he's so physically dynamic. It's not the best play for them. It doesn't work.
They have good running backs that just aren't performing.
If they could have ran the ball effectively against Georgia, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
And to Mike's point, if Jalen Milroe gets in the Heisman conversation, it don't even matter because he had a quarterback anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you still get your wish because a quarterback wouldn't be in there.
No, I'm sick of the quarterbacks being in there every single time when they're doing regular shit that the rest of the quarterbacks.
All right, so I guess you know what? I'm gonna just throw this paper to the side. I won't bring up Garrett Nussmeier. I won't bring up Drew Aller.
No, not at all. Nothing that they're doing. Nothing that those guys are doing that their backup can't do. I guarantee you, the backup quarterback at LSU can give you the same kind of stats as Nussmeier. The backup guy in Penn State can do the exact same thing as Aller. He's not doing anything special.
Maybe next year, once they get some experience under their belt. Not right now.
These quarterbacks that get overhyped and overqualified, and people ignore the fact that, like, yo, if you're I'm just seeing the award being a full-on quarterback.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, I think that if it were today, they would give it to Cam Ward. If it was today, they would give it to Cam Ward.
Cam Ward is, like I said, he is bringing back a program that's been lacking its shine for a long time, and he's also leading in his category. It's like it's a rich tapestry, so to speak. So it's like that's what I mean. It's like they're having a season that's like, okay, this is a season to remember, and the numbers are indicative of that. Yeah, Penn State's having a good year. And maybe if they go on this, or they beat Ohio State and Aller's the reason, maybe he gets thrown into the conversation. But it's like that would take him until the end of the year, essentially until these games happen. These other guys have been doing it all year long. And like, that's what I mean. It's like the Heisman isn't, oh, you jump into the race because you had a good game week 8. What were you doing before that? You just have regular, typical numbers. Because even Cade Klubnik numbers look great. But is he having a Heisman season?
I would say no.
We use the phrase Heisman season. You know what I mean? Like something, it has to resonate.
I would say no, because you still need to have the big games too. And I don't mean numbers wise. I mean the opponent. You know what I mean? Like, he had the opportunity against Georgia, and that didn't go so well. So I can't put him in that conversation until maybe they get to the ACC championship game and beat Miami, but by then it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. That's what my thing with Jalen Milroe. Like, they've already lost 2 games. Like, what can he do to jump back in?
Right, and that's why I say, like, I don't know if there's 5 people right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's Cam Ward, no order. Cam Ward, Shador, Travis Hunter is still in the conversation. He's just not my front runner. And then who's my 4th? Ashton Genty. Those are the 4 right now. You know, like Army, Navy, you know, those are great stories. Those are great things to see. We're happy about it. I don't know if I can see how
they're going to get big wins. They're going to be potentially undefeated.
Beat Notre Dame, and then we can revisit.
They're both going to beat Notre Dame. People keep acting like Notre Dame is the shit. Their helmets are gold. That's it. That's it. They're not out there running through people. That is it. They literally lost to Northern Illinois. Riley Leonard can't throw. It's like, yo, it's just it's the name on the front, and that's all that. And
They're
that's
a
what the
more
Heisman.
athletic version of Navy.
And they're gonna
We'll
get
get to that
aspect.
later. We ain't got to talk about that right now.
They're
We'll
gonna
get
get
to that
that
later.
aspect. Well, like I said, I just think that the award is just it's been dumbed down to where it's basically the college football playoff. You pluck out a few people who are in that playoff and you put them on the stage in New York, and then you have some dude screaming "Boomer Sooner" if there's a dude from Oklahoma that wins, and that's it. And
Fuck Boomer and fuck Sooner. How about that?
there's no real like just desire to like really encapsulate what the award means and find a guy that really follows that mold. A guy playing both sides of the ball, even though he's injured, coming back. And I think Shador and Travis, if they were undefeated, I think people would. I think I would have them both, but just because they're not, I'm just going to go with the guy I think that's doing more as far as as far as a college story. I still think Shador is going to be the first quarterback taken. I don't know if he's going to be the number one pick. Depends on who get it. I think he's going to be the first quarterback taken, but I think the Heisman and like the like just the story and like I said, like just I don't keep beating this word up, but like the special aspect of it, I think Travis Hunter kind of embodies that aspect of it.
For sure. All right. So moving on, and allow me to give out a very big pause before I click this button. All right. So Sunday, we're going to start with Sunday Night Football because people love talking about these teams. So let's talk about it. You got Dallas going on the road to Santa Clara, even though we always say San Jose. You know, they're going to play the 49ers. The 49ers are already playing playoff games. Dallas is coming off the bye week. Hopefully they get some of their players back. Micah Parsons, Deron Bland, so on and so forth.
9 wins might win the NFC West. So I think they're...
No, go ahead.
Nine wins might win the NFC West. So I think San Francisco's sitting good, but I still think they're going to beat Dallas.
Yeah. You know, I think that at the end of the day, Dallas is just not a good matchup for San Francisco. They haven't been for quite some time, you know, and I don't think we're going to see anything different, you know, this weekend. I think San Francisco is just going to run the ball down their throat, and when Dallas done throwing it up, they're going to run it right back down there again. They're going to come out the stomach, all that kind of stuff. They're going to bully Dallas up and down the field. You know, we know that CeeDee Lamb doesn't make appearances in big games. You know, I guess Micah and Bland are out now, you know, to our resident Cowboy. Shout out to the One Mike podcast, dropping those gems. You know, I think that it's going to be a close game just because I don't even know who's, you know, like suiting up for the 49ers these days. You know, Debo might play. You know, he's got the pneumonia going on. He's been practicing, so he might play. Kittle should play. I don't know. Give me the 49ers.
I mean, yeah, I'll take the 49ers just because I think Dallas, like I said, you do the stats. I tend to do the mood and the groove. I just don't think Dallas like believes week to week that they're a good football team. It just doesn't feel top to bottom. I think Jerry not shutting up. Jerry just constantly getting on there. Like the statement he made, like I'm paraphrasing, but essentially that he doesn't know if Derrick Henry would have been putting up.
He wouldn't be having that season this year, yeah.
It's like, dog, just say, hey, I wish I could have made it work, but I mean, you guys keep asking about a guy that's not on my team, so I can't keep talking about him legally and just for the sake of my team. I'm not going to keep answering Derrick Henry questions. But he lacks self-awareness to the point where he doesn't even know how ridiculous that sounds. Like I don't think my team is good enough to get Derrick Henry yards, is what he just said. I don't think my quarterback is good enough throwing the ball.
He ain't lying either way, regardless. Like I don't think he should be saying it, but he's telling the truth.
He picked these dudes. He signed the contracts. He signs the checks with his name on it. Like Jerry Jones Corporation, or whatever the LLC is, or the nonprofit, or whatever it is, it's his money. He's
I think
sitting around like having conversations like this. Man, why you sign him?
I
Well, you
think
already
that the
signed him.
lose. I think
You
the
ain't giving no
loser of
money.
this
Like,
game.
fuck.
I think the loser of this game is just in a bad space. The 49ers already 1-2 in the division. Coming off the loss against Kansas City last week. Dallas. Washington's a little bit better than we thought they would be. Philly isn't necessarily good, but they're right in
They're
the mix.
they're just the Philly. The thing with Philly is like those guys are just there. So maybe they'll play great, maybe they'll play average, but the fact that they are all there and they're that talented, like they have good problems in Philly. They
They
just got to
do.
figure it out.
They
Dallas
do.
has like bewildering problems. Like I
Yeah.
don't even know the adjective to describe the problems they have.
And everybody was excited for this number 1 versus number 2 draft pick matchup. But now it
Yeah,
might not happen.
Chicago, Washington.
Yeah, we have to see if Jaden Daniels is going to play. He's got the hurt ribs. Thank goodness, it's no fracture or anything like that. People keep on telling me, these Scamander fans keep telling me, even if Marcus Mariota starts, we're going to win this game. No. Give me the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears, because even if Jaden Daniels does play, I don't know how effective he's going to be throwing the ball with the hurt ribs. Then that's going to take away probably some of the leg action, the run pause. It's going to take away some of his running game, if you will. So he's a tough kid. We'll see if we got the pain management going on, but I'm going to take the Bears.
I'll take Washington.
Okay. Hope you're right.
I just think they're having. I think they're just having a better season. I think, for lack of better, I think the vibes are better. And honestly, I think Jaden will play. If he can play, if they can shoot him up and pad him up enough, I think he'll play.
Yeah, I was hoping that DeKale and Metcalf would play, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to or not. So we'll have to wait for word of that. But this is a chance for Jackson Smith and Jigba to show the world why Seattle drafted him. Now,
it would be nice.
Josh Allen somehow still hasn't turned the ball over. I don't know what we're doing. This is bizarro world where he's not turning the ball over. Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns. I don't know. I feel like I'm transported to some kind of multiverse. But I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills to win this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Seattle should get some defensive reinforcements back, but I'm not trusting them just yet, And I think that, to your point a couple of weeks ago, Amari Cooper is going to make life easier for those other receivers.
So it's so much space. You got 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, solid running game, and a 6'5", 250-pound quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
that's
and
success.
And if James Cook ain't being effective, hell, Ray Davis has been showing off the last couple of weeks.
Ray Davis, he out there running for rent.
The rookie. Remember, he ran for 280 against Florida last year. So there you have it. I don't know why I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. Give me the Eagles. I still don't trust Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's having a great season. He's having great statistics. Everything, looks good in Cincinnati, but that defense. The thing that I am scared of, though, is that the Eagles have not scored in the first quarter this season yet.
I think last week they had at the first 5 games, something like 22 yards in their first drives.
And I don't know why people keep hiring Kellen Moore. It's like taking the dude that got fired at Home Depot and hiring him at Lowe's.
Well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, but if all of y'all suck, it don't matter who gets along with who.
Like those dudes over there, they're intellectually inferior.
I was thinking Ellen DeGeneres or Macaulay Culkin.
You can come to my come to our program and we'll show you how it's done. I think that's a lot of it. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, I think that Cincinnati's defense is playing a little better. They got some injured people back, but I still don't trust them yet. Jalen Hurts probably had the worst game of the season this year. Probably had the worst game of his career even last week, and that was against the Giants. So, I don't know if this is the new phenomenon, but the Eagles might want to take some of those wing T concepts from Navy and just run the ball.
Man, just get a goddamn ball to Saquon or the other back.
Just give it to Saquon and move out the way.
Just get out of the way. It doesn't need to be, like I said, football is not cute.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the reason. That's why they keep hiring Kellen Moore. Has been solved. So remember last week I brought up Patrick Mahomes. And I put the word out in the streets, you know what I'm saying? I let it hit the wire that it's time for some bounty gate. Well, wouldn't you know he's playing against the Raiders this week. So if there is a team that will bounty gate him, it'll be the Raiders. Now,
not these Raiders.
With the offense, with the way that Kansas City's offense is looking this year, is this going to look like Christmas again?
I think Kansas City is going to have some short field opportunities, and Mahomes is going to capitalize. I think
upset alert.
After a couple of touchdowns, the Raiders have nothing.
Upset alert. There you go.
They have, I think, who they bring in this week to be quarterback? They brought in some bum who probably used to play for the Jets or something like that.
The Raiders?
I think Aiden O'Connell might. I think
he's hurt.
IR. I mean,
they did pick up somebody. I can't remember off the top of Desmond Ritter. That's what it was. It was Desmond Ritter, Ritter. No, Zappy went to Cleveland. Yeah, it was Desmond Ritter. Yeah.
You got Desmond Ritter. And I like his motivation. I wish he would have done better in Atlanta. It would have been kind of cool to give him more than 1 year, but he couldn't get it. But
you can say what you want about Desmond Ritter. But this is what I'm going to say about Desmond Ritter. He went to Arizona and got beat out by Clayton Tune.
A lot of times they just stick with the guy that's already in the program.
Yeah, a fifth rounder that was in the program for a year. Yeah.
That's enough. That's why sometimes it's like when guys want to go to other teams in the free agency, like, listen, man, that other team doesn't love you like the team that drafted you. So you figure out how to make it work with the team that drafted you and you get your opportunity. But
there's your hot take right there.
Unfortunately for him, the Atlanta front office, for some reason, drafted a quarterback when they could have just had him as a backup to Kirk, but neither here nor there. But yeah.
But you know what's funny about this game?
Kansas City is going to look like Kansas City. I'm thinking that maybe not like the game they had against Chicago last year, where it was like 31 points in the first half. But it's going to be. It's only so much that Max Crosby can do by himself.
Oh, that's tonight. I didn't even realize it was tonight. My bad. Rutgers and USC. Yeah.
USC, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was tomorrow. But Patrick Mahomes, if you look at the QBR, it's kind of funny because him and Gardner Minshew actually have the same QBR right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Chiefs. It's going to be the Jalen McMillan show down in Tampa because Mike Evans is out. Godwin's out for the season because his ass was on the field when he shouldn't have been.
That was a bad look.
Yeah, that was Ritter and Rattler, the same dudes. But when I look at it,
Mike, that's facts. That's deadly. They look, that's facts.
Hey, this is history. This might be the first time you and Mike ever agreed. I like that. You know what I'm saying? But this injuries, you don't want to wish injury on anybody, right? But long term, this might be a good thing for Tampa. You get Jalen McMillan some snaps, the rookie that you picked up, wide receiver from Washington. You get to use your guys like Sean Tucker, Rashard White, Bucky Irvin. It forces you to have to run the ball, if Bucky Irvin plays because he's got the turf toe going on. But I'm going with the Falcons. Justin Simmons is doubtful, but Kirk Cousins threw for 500 yards against them a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that's going to be necessary this time, but I got the Falcons.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons. That was an easy pick. Honestly, with the injuries,
just different views. No Drake.
The injuries to the wide receivers is what's going to. And I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a gamer, but
big play bake.
They just there's only so much you can do without your weapons. You saw what Matthew Stafford look like last night when he got his weapons back. He threw 4 touchdowns. He hadn't thrown 4 touchdowns total all year. So it's like sometimes you need your weapons.
For sure, 100%. You know what I'm saying? So then from there, Ravens, Browns, I ain't got much else to say, but good luck, Jameis. You're going to need it.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. I thought you kind of knew that with my silence that I agree with.
Okay, well, yeah. So then we got
I was thinking Tiny scored a time run in the bottom of the 8th. 2-2.
Yeah, my stream fell out on me. Now my screen is black, so I guess I'm back to Louisville and DC. But Colts and Texans, first place on the line. So what you got?
If they don't call a bunch of drag routes, check downs, and slants for Anthony Richardson to get him some easy passes,
They can't. Those are the ones that he doesn't complete.
oh yes, those not deep post route, deep over route. So I'm gonna take Houston. I'm gonna take Houston because there's only so many times you can go out there and play 48, 50% completion. Like it's not likely that he's going to hit multiple bombs, especially this late in the season where people just have all this tape. Like, yo, this is a lot. And we got a lot of tape that shows that he can't make certain throws. We'll just defend those. We'll defend the throws that he can make, and we'll call it good. And then he's going to run. He's going to try to run somebody over.
Well, I would like to know, the one thing that I would like to know, I'm going to pick the Texans too, begrudgingly, because I don't know if I'm going to see Tank Dell again this weekend, because he was nowhere to be found in the state of Wisconsin last week. So this is a Stephon Diggs game because there's no Jair Alexander to lock him down on the other side of the field. So I got Houston lighting up the scoreboard. Packers and Jags.
Give me the Pack.
Give me the Pack. I do want to see Green Bay play a game where their defense isn't getting a lot of turnovers. They remind me a lot of. I'm not okay. Before I gotta preface it. I'm not saying what you heard me say. So they remind me a lot of the Saints from 2009 that won the Super Bowl. Because they're not necessarily a good defense; they're just very opportunistic, and they just make
Bounty Gate Saints.
Well, forget the Bounty Gate part, but I'm just talking about
maybe that's why they were so motivated.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the turnovers. They force the turnovers, but if they don't turn you over, they don't stop you. Pause.
To get the ball.
Yeah, but So I'm
asking dudes all 3 quarters, and then dudes get tired of running the ball, and they get fumbles in the fourth.
Yeah, but what you did not hear me say was they remind me of the Super Bowl champs, as in this team is going to the Super Bowl. That's what I didn't say.
I don't think anyone's going to jump to that conclusion.
People be doing that. Trust me, people
2008 Ravens with Joe Flacco and a bunch of turnovers. I think people would have been a little bit like.
So it sounds like my guy Mason Rudolph is going to start again. The problem is. You're playing the Lions, so moving on. Jets and Patriots. Can Aaron Rodgers hit 300 yards for 1? Can Aaron Rodgers win a game for 2? For 3, can Aaron Rodgers play a game without throwing an interception?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to take New England. I know I saw a rumor today that Gerard Mayo could be out. I don't know if that was satire. I don't know why Robert Kraft would do that.
I don't think he would do that to one of his guys.
But Mike Vrabel is out there. But yeah, I'll take New England. I would call it an upset. They've been there for years.
It might not be an upset.
I just think that the Jets are better constructed offensively. Their weapons, even Drake May being young. Aaron Rodgers, he did a rollout last week. And he was not moving very fast. It was the slowest rollout. It was like who was like Vinny Testaverde. It looked very slow. He was he escaped the pocket. It was like it's taking him a long time to kind of come around and get his body squared and throw his passes. He's not running at all. So I think and that's probably part of it is I don't know how well he can move. I don't think it's an Achilles. I think it might just be an ace thing. I'm not trying to run at all. And he's not going to put himself on the line. So I think if they contain him and they can just kind of keep the clamps on Devontae Adams as much as they can, I think they can win. I just feel like I don't feel like the Jets have any leadership anywhere, and I don't think they have the kind of. Because sometimes you can mask what your problems your teams have if you're scoring points. If you're going out there back-to-back drives, putting 8-9 plays together, getting touchdowns, you can mask the fact that you guys don't get along. You can mask the fact that somebody's going to lose their job. like in the first game against New England, when like the whole hug thing. But because they scored a few points, I think if they don't come out and score these points, then I think New England young quarterback out there just throwing it around, seeing what he could do. I give him a shot.
Now, if you could turn Madden into real life, the Jets might make the Super Bowl. But this is real life. So, but I'm gonna pick the Jets to win this game. But it is what it is. So, Tua turned the ball up. Tua Tagovailoa is back this weekend. He's got the Cardinals coming in, short week, Monday Night Football, coming across those time zones. So they should get off to a slow enough start that Tua should be able to find his footing. The last 3 games, Harvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches for 57 yards. I don't know if that's rookie need to do better, quarterback need to do better, coordinator need to do, somebody need to do better. Give me the Dolphins.
That's a coordinator thing. I know you want the quarterback to make things happen, but the coordinator has to say, hey, this is the read. We need to get this shot needs to go to Marvin Harrison. Marvin, you got to win off the line of scrimmage, so forth and so on. I'm gonna take Arizona. Okay. I don't know how open the playbook is gonna be for Tua, and I don't know if he's gonna have. I don't know. I see sometimes it takes a hit. You got to get hit to get in the game. I don't know if that's a good move for him. Some players get it. Like, you got a running back come off injury. You give him a handoff, and he gets to make contact. And it's like you get the sweat going. You get the blood flowing. I don't know if that's a good thing for Tua. And I don't know how open the playbook is going to be. I don't know if he's going to scramble and try to create plays. It just seems like he has to have some rust and some apprehensiveness.
How good of a wide receiver is Tyreek Hill?
From what people always say, like I said, I can't evaluate like his feet or anything like that or his release. I just know like his speed is so ridiculous that it might be a situation where he's just so fast he can just get by people and get open.
I know, but I just see some of these wide receivers without top quarterbacks and they're able to perform. And like Tua just must be the offense, So Mike McDaniel, I'm not sure where he stands. Like, I don't think he's on the hot seat or anything like that. But
hold on. We got a situation brewing in LA. We look like we had a home run. And are they saying that he reached? Oh, yeah, he definitely reached over the wall. So it's going to be a double.
All right.
He's a Dodger fan at that.
What's what we looking like? What's the count?
So right now, top of the 9th, 2 outs. That's why I say we got something brewing because I thought it might have gone over the fence he caught it. But the Dodger fan reached into the field to play, caught the ball. So that is a ground rule double.
Okay. Score.
And he is out. Like he literally got that ball and he's leaving.
Okay.
I don't know if they kicked him out, but like he caught the ball and like he's packing everything up.
So we had in the extra innings or what?
No, because the Dodgers are still going to get their opportunity to bat. There's 2 outs for the Yankees, top of the 9th. Got a man on second.
All right.
I think Torres is up to bat.
All right. Damn right, go Dodgers. I know Mr. Logical going to try to act like he repping the Yankees, but
Listen, I've only been to a couple of baseball games.
But 3-3 Boise and UNLV right now as well. What is Jim Harbaugh afraid of? Like he's coaching to not lose versus coaching to win. I watched that game against Arizona Monday night.
I don't know if he has the trust in Justin Herbert that
he looked like it on the final drive of the game. That was the one game that they looked like they actually opened up the playbook, and then they got down. And then they got downfield and decided, let's just kick a field goal, And so, but they're going to beat the Saints, But J.K. Dobbins, I'm watching him because remember the first 2 games of the season, he was coming off these injuries. J.K. Dobbins is back. You know, 27 in the first 2 games, 27 rushes, 266 yards. Since then, 68 rushes, 212 yards. So, I don't know.
Halfway to 1,000. You got to be optimistic.
So, guess who playing this weekend, Mr. Logical?
Carolina and Denver.
Yes, you done brought up his name a few times. Bryce Young is back.
He should
And
have
his ass is going to go back to the ground over and over and over again as the Broncos walk all over the Panthers.
I just seen something strange happen in this baseball game. But you got the Broncos.
Ooh,
You know what?
maybe?
I mean, just for the sake of my division, I'll take Denver. 'Cause like I said, I'm not a big
I'm taking Denver to cover the 10.5.
10.5.
Yeah, they covering. The Steelers. I don't know if the Steelers are going to get Olave. Like I think they would rather have Cooper Kupp, but we'll see.
I don't think the Steelers are going to really. I don't think the Steelers are in the market to get.
Well, I know they tried to get
wide
IU.
receiver.
You know, their name was brought up. I don't know how true it was, but their name was brought up with Devontae Evans. So
Everybody in America knew, even people who didn't watch sports, that he wasn't going anywhere but the Jets. He wasn't going to New Orleans. He was going with Aaron. He tried the David Carr experiment in Las Vegas. He wasn't going to go, even if he could have had ultimate health in New Orleans. Derek Carr wasn't going to get Devontae Adams there.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen. But Pittsburgh, I got Pittsburgh beating the Giants. I don't know if New Orleans is going to sell off their team. I mean, it probably would be a good look. I don't know what kind of wide receiver they want as their number 2 guy.
Yeah. No, the Steelers are going to win that game. We might see Drew Lock again, because the Giants might need another spark, if you will. So, I'll keep my eye out on that. But of course, it's that time. It's time for upset alert. You know what I'm saying? Unc always talking all this trash to me. He ain't want to give me my credit for my 10-3 week. You know what I'm saying? So, we're going to try it again, I guess. First and goal, UNLV. So upset alert. Cincinnati over Colorado. Buffalo over Ohio. Wisconsin over Penn State. Kansas over
who?
Huh?
Would you say what was your second one?
Buffalo over Ohio. Wisconsin over Penn State. Kansas State. And Sparty, Michigan State, and Michigan. So those are the covers. So for my actual upsets, and it's so stupid that I even have to say this, BYU over UCF.
How is UCF favorite over?
I don't know if you saw that. UCF is a 2.5-point favorite over BYU.
Okay.
I said cover, Dave. Calm down. Put them panties away. I said cover. I didn't say they were going to win. UNC, the Tar Heels getting off the mat against the Who's. You know what I'm saying? Like Matt Brown turning the season around. Third oldest FBS rivalry in history, 128 games played. There's some hate here. Oklahoma State over Baylor. Texas Tech over TCU. And Auburn over Kentucky. So, go Dodgers. But so let's get right to it. So, 2 undefeated teams in the SEC. Yes, FSU they're going to lose. Yes. 21-point underdogs at Miami. They're going to lose. Miami's probably going to cover. LSU and A&M. The 2 undefeated teams in the SEC. Somebody is still going to be alive for the playoffs after this. The other one might be in a little bit of trouble. What say you, Mr. Logical?
Hold on, I'm just looking at this game. I'll send you a message.
Touchdown UNLV.
Baseball right now. They walked Torres to get to Judge, so they put a runner on base to pitch to Aaron Judge. and he popped up. So it looks like the smart move to. He hit it high as hell in the air. It took a long time to come down.
and for all y'all Heisman trackers out there, so far, 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter. Ashton Genty, 4 rushes, 10 yards. But
He'll break one for 70 here.
Oh yeah, he will. But LSU A&M, what you got?
LSU A&M at Texas A&M.
Yep.
LSU on the road. I'll take Texas A&M. I'll go out on a limb.
Okay.
Let's get some more chaos in the SEC.
I'm gonna take LSU. I just trust their quarterback, just a tad bit more. LSU has not won in College Station since 2016. The home team has won 7 straight in this series. The problem that LSU is going to have in this game is that they're 96 against the run. So A&M should have some success. Brian Kelly 1-6 against ranked teams away from LSU. So who's going to make the explosive plays? That's what this game is going to come down to. LSU somehow got better on defense with their best defensive player out for the season. So they're going to bring some noise to A&M as well. It's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down to the wire. This game is going to be low scoring, I believe. So I can see something along the lines of 23-20 LSU. Mizzou and Bama. I felt a lot better about this game until I saw the injury report. Brady Cook, quarterback for Mizzou, is doubtful. Missouri leading rusher, doubtful. Going to Tuscaloosa, game started. The spread was 13.5. I woke up this morning, it was 16.5.
I'm gonna run with Vegas and give Bama the victory there.
So this is one of those things that pisses me off. We always talk about how these teams are in the same conference, but they rarely play each other. So, Missouri joined the SEC back when Texas A&M did back in 2012. And this is their 5th time playing Bama. One of those was the SEC championship game. In those games, Bama has beat them by average score of 40-13. So this is the week to get right. This is the week to get right. Even though, they're going to be starting, Missouri's going to be starting Drew Pine, who people might remember from Notre Dame, Arizona State, Wisconsin. I think I got them all. So he's been around the block a few times. So they are getting a veteran quarterback, and Bama has that leaky secondary. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Bama as well. Then out in Camp Randall, the Penn State Nittany Lions, State Penn, going out. And this is what I want to keep my eye on, Mr. Logical.
All right, let's check it out.
I think Penn State's going to win. I'm going to take Wisconsin to cover, but I want to see how Penn State starts. I want to see the first 2 or 3 possessions because if you didn't know, they got the Buckeyes coming in next week. So this might...
You think they're looking ahead?
They could. They very well could. It's at Wisconsin, so no whiteout. But so I think that Wisconsin has found a groove. The bad news is these grooves were against the worst teams in the Big Ten. So we'll see. Penn State could blow this open, but I'm going to trust Wisconsin at home to put up a fight.
To keep it close?
Yeah, keep it close. Drew Aller, like I said, cover your ears. He could play himself into the Heisman conversation, especially next week, if they get that win over Ohio State. So, but I'm here for it.
How?
Because all it takes is
you play, yeah.
Because all it takes is a win. All it takes is a win.
It's like week 4, though. You got to be on somebody's radar to play your way in. It's not like a hurricane that just pops up. You got to be on some kind of watch. We got to be looking for this tropical storm, and then it just grows and grows and grows. There's no buzz for Drew Allen for Heisman.
No, but he plays on the number 3 team in the country that's going to play a top 5 or 6 team next week. He performs well in that game. They got the 14-point comeback at USC a couple of weeks ago.
Is he drafted?
Yes.
he'll get more
Yeah,
conversation about being
and
a
people
high draft
love
pick.
Drew Aller. People love scouts love Drew Aller.
He's what he's like 6'4", 6'5",
Yeah,
220,
yeah,
25. Like he's like if I'm a GM, I'm looking like I could work with that. Little athleticism, little size. I don't need you to be Josh Allen with your athleticism, but having some size, yeah, I could work with that. I
yeah.
think he's more likely to play himself into the like who kind of like played themselves into the first round, like Bo Nix. Like Bo Nix wasn't the first round quarterback all of last year. And then as the season went on, they started playing big games. He played himself into the first round.
You know what I'm
So
saying? Hey, while you
I think
playing,
that
DJU brother looking good out at Oregon, you know what I'm saying? Luckily he doesn't play offense. But no, not right. But look, at the end of the day, there ain't 1,000 Heisman candidates. I said there were four. I'm talking about people that could enter the conversation in the next few weeks. Then you go out to Eugene, where Ohio State suffered their only loss. They got the Fighting Illini coming in. 21.5 point spread, Mr. Logical.
that's dangerous because that I think that's dangerous because you can get your players right now should be chilling. They should be like either at home watching some baseball, chilling, and like trying to get a good night's sleep so they can be prepared for the next day. But having that kind of spread, they're like, man, we're gonna beat the brakes off these dudes. Let's go play some pool. Let's go here. Let's go do that. And like too many guys go out varsity blue style when they always in the strip club after the before the game.
Yeah.
I think because that's the only way that the deep games like that happen when you have a spread this big. It's like somebody wasn't focused because oh, he missed it. Because that's how it happens. If you have a 21-point spread, that means your talent level is a 3 touchdown possessions gap. In order for that to not happen, the favorite team has to just be completely unfocused.
Well, Illinois is a tough team. Their only loss on the season came in Happy Valley. They lost that game 21-7. They were able to play some defense, keep Penn State at bay. Last week against Michigan, low scoring game, but they pulled that out. I think they can cover. I think that Oregon's going to win. I don't think they're going to be in any danger, but I think that it might be one of those games where the score makes you think Oregon had trouble. So it might be something like 34-23, 37-23. And people are like, oh, did Oregon blow that out late? And it was like, no, Oregon was never in danger of losing.
Yeah, they'll be
I
up
think
like
it's going to be one of those
37 to
games.
14, and they'll get like a late touchdown.
Could be, So then, of course, out in Mr. Logical's neck of the woods,
You're
the Fighting Irish
give me Navy.
coming out to play the midshipmen. And I don't know how I feel about this game. I keep going back and forth. Either Navy wins or Notre Dame wins by 24.
All right, quick baseball update. We are going to extra innings, tied 2-2 in the ninth.
All right.
I like the service academies this year mainly because they're having success
They
and they're
are.
having success running the ball and they're getting big plays in the passing game because any defensive coordinator, you can't sit back in a standard defense when they're running the ball like that. You got to make sure you got to fill all your lanes, but it's a lot of misdirection and the way that Navy runs side to side, one guy or two guys out of place,
It's over.
it's over. Like two guys out of place, it's probably a home run touchdown. One guy out of place, maybe it's a 15-yard run, but just the way if they don't like swallow that up, pause early, then what you're gonna end up is Navy's gonna hit running the gaps. You're gonna have to make on the fly adjustments as a defensive coordinator, and because they run the ball so like their run game is so dynamic, you can adjust to one thing, and they can do something completely different that you can adjust to, like the option going to the left. is going to be way different doing it right because the quarterback's right-handed. So that option to the left, maybe he keeps it, but then he steps back, and you got Kent running up the seam wide open, and he pops 2 of those in the game. And he's a speedster, like I said, he's a track guy. So, and on top of that, Notre Dame likes to run. We talk about Riley Leonard's not really dynamic in the passing game. So the Navy defense, they practice against one of the high-powered running offenses in the country. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of, like, can you get off your blocks and make the tackles on the Notre Dame running backs? I think they can.
Okay. So I don't know who this game is bigger for. That's the problem, because obviously Navy needs this win to keep any hope of the playoff alive. Notre Dame, with the loss earlier to Northern Illinois, obviously can't necessarily afford another loss to begin with. Last year they met in Ireland. Brian Newberry's first game as Navy's head coach, 42-3 smackdown. Navy's offense this year, their lowest output, 34 points. But there's something that I can't wrap my head around. They gave up 274 rushing yards and 44 points to Memphis. They haven't had a turnover since their first game. So, they're taking care of the football. The only teams that have scored more points than Navy this year are Indiana, Miami, and Boise State. So Navy's not going to beat themselves. And don't talk like that, my brother, because you might see it. What I'm saying? Don't talk like you might see it. They brought in Drew Cronick.
I'm the Air Force guy, but if I want new blood in this new college football.
You're gonna get it with BYU or Iowa State, maybe, but
give me that game. Give me BYU as a 12 seed versus I don't know who. Give me
not Liberty after that loss to Kennesaw State.
I just want these smaller programs to get that opportunity because, like we talked about earlier with the Heisman, it's like there's only so many teams that get the cut their teeth against teams like Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia. It's like everybody doesn't get to play those games. Hell, the top 8 teams play in 2 conferences, and they could keep beating on each other. Mm-hmm. So I really want to see these opportunities. So, like Navy, I hope they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame can't start slow. Notre Dame can't start slow because they this season they have been prone to fall behind. There's been 5 first quarters where they've been behind. Navy, they get behind Navy, they're going to get a lot of running down your throat. Mr. Logical would love this. After that game, they decided, hey, we got to go get something. They went down to where? Macon, Georgia, down to Mercer. They went and got Mercer's head coach, Drew Cronick, and he came back and added some wing T to that Navy thing, and now you got a great offense. But I think Notre Dame's defense is going to set the tone. So I got Notre Dame winning. I got Navy covering. And I think I might like Army against Notre Dame better. But we'll wait for that in a couple of weeks. Louisiana Monroe, they're a 7.5-point underdog at South Alabama tomorrow. So I got my eye on the Warhawks. We'll see. Yeah. Chris back dick riding again. Where you at? He out here dick riding again. Saying this man told me he was a Duke and UNC fan at the same time. Now he on here talking about the Hurricanes. But okay.
That's a lot going on.
Yeah. So, I got my eye on Ohio State. Their left tackle is out for the season. So, we'll have to see how they look. They got
to put in a 5-star who hasn't played much. So that I think they'll survive.
Well, I'm interested in this Indiana game, because, Curtis Rourke, their quarterback, is hurt with the thumb injury. It's not as bad as they thought, but he's not going to play tomorrow. They have Washington coming in, so 6.5-point favorites there. Washington has the defense. Denzel Boston is one of the best wide receivers in the country. Keep your eye on it. I think Indiana wins, but keep your eye on it. Jackson Arnold, The guy that I've been shitting on since the Alamo Bowl last year, got his starting job back at Oklahoma, find themselves 20.5-point underdogs to Ole Miss down in Oxford.
He looks small.
He
looks like a high school. Like, I don't know, just something about like his. It doesn't seem like if I'm a defense, I'm lined up across from him, thinking like, okay, this guy's gonna beat me. Hence probably why he lost his job. Jackson Dart just has to play better. I mean, like he's one of those guys like that can play himself into potentially getting drafted as well. Because I think he looks the part, probably like 6'1", 6'2", out of Utah. I don't know how Utah let him get out of state. I think about this every time. Like, how do you let these top quarterbacks leave the state and go to school? But neither here nor there.
Right.
Let 26-year-old dude hang out like Adam Sandler and Billy Madison. But I like Lane Kiffin. I like his ego. I like his swagger. It just I don't know if he's ever gonna be able to get over the hump in the SEC.
Right.
So if and right now with all this conference realignment, he's better off just staying where you are. But like it's tough for him because like I said, I like him. His team always has that game they lose every year that they shouldn't lose, and now they're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the season. Then eventually, the team you should lose a game to, you lose. So it's like, you can't win for losing.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting game. I think OU can cover that. So we'll just have to see. But there's a lot of great college football action going on tomorrow. I guess stay sharp. That's what you got to do because we're getting late into the season. We hit November next week. And before you know it, it's going to be time for some conference championship games.
Yeah, and those big games, these pseudo rivalry games, the end of the season games where you're 9-0, you think you're looking good for the playoffs, and you slip up. And Tulane's not a bad team, but you lose a game like that.
Nope.
You'll lose a game. You'll lose a game that just snuck in on you, and it's like everybody else is sending. Because we've talked about that with Alabama because they were losing a game. Like when they lost to I believe it was like Texas Tech a few years back. It was like real late in the year.
Well, we got UNLV driving here. Or actually, it looks like Boise just got the ball back. USC's up 7-0 on Rutgers.
That was quick.
What? Residente wilding in the comments. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's going to be a lot of great action. The NBA is back.
The Yankees up 3-2, top of the 10th, 2 outs.
Oh, don't make me sick now. I'm having a good time. Don't make me sick. Florida State 21.5-point underdogs at the Canes.
They just watched a double play opportunity as well.
Great.
Yeah, that's not it. Yeah, so you got the ground ball, shortstop bobbled it. The guy's safe at first. The run counts 3-2, top of the 10th.
Okay.
It would have been an inning double play. I think the run, I don't know if the run would have counted, though. I think the runner has to get to first in that situation.
Right.
But yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For sure. But hey, we will be back on Monday, with some MVP talk. We're going to be talking about the reaction to Tuesday, reaction to the games. We're going to have a little NBA for you. Some first impressions, what we've seen so far this season. Cade Cunningham.
Really not going to play back-to-backs?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Like that's the whole plan.
That's the whole plan.
Didn't he sign a 3-year, $193 million extension?
He did.
You give half of that back?
No.
Okay, just checking.
but he is the even kill Mr. Logical.
Most of the time.
And it's that even though he got unkilled tonight.
Hey, listen, sometimes when I'm speaking logically, I need you to hear me out.
But don't bring feelings to a fact fight.
Exactly.
We'll be back. We love you. Like, review, subscribe, share. Do all the good things. Do all the free things. And we love you. Peace.
Go Yankees.